To the Rob and KO podcast. Rob Sanders.
Some would be entertained by it. Some would be horrified by it.
KO Carolina Jackpot Hall.
All would be interested in it.
The Rob and KO podcasts.
Let's
go. And welcome in to the program. 3 o'clock. Appreciate you guys checking out the show. Got some stuff we're going to get into today. Some stuff that kind of hit me in the face today. As we did a show last night, we talked a little bit of SEC stuff, and I had someone get into my comments about something about. I said that there's a lot of questions for South Carolina. We'll get into that in a moment, but we've also got there's a new transfer rule thing that may cause. You think it's messed up now? If this goes through. I mean, we are at a point where the word commitment to any program is going to be in the garbage. I'll explain that to you in just a little bit. But Jay, over in the comments section, already lighting it up, says he found Biscuit. Yeah, Biscuit was I think Biscuit checks in for football season and then leaves. I think once the national championship is over, Biscuit just doesn't take part of the program, and that's okay. That's fine. But all are welcome here on the program. All right, if you want to support the show, there's the PayPal, there's the Cash App, there's the Venmo, all of that there for you. Jay wants a reward. Okay. Yeah, we'll work out something there. All right, so I think South Carolina, getting to the gentleman that got into my comments section, I'm going to read to you what I said to this guy. So there's a lot of questions with South Carolina. There's questions with every program, okay? But going into this season, he asked about, the guy said point blank that he said, what questions are there for South Carolina this year? So I wrote out some questions, and I think all of these are valid. And if you are a fan of the Gamecocks, and you're not just someone that is going to sit here and be like, we're going 12-0. If you're one of those illogical bunch, I mean, I honestly can't help you today. All right. But here are some of the questions that came off the top of my head, and there's plenty more. But let's start with, is Spencer Rattler going to man up, or is he going to act like a large child? We're asking him to remember, not even a calendar year ago, he was sitting on the sideline at Oklahoma with his lip stuck out like someone had shot his dog. He can't be that way this season for South Carolina. He has to be the Spencer Rattler that was lighting up Florida in a bowl game. He has to be that guy if South Carolina is going to be better than they were last year. Can the offensive line be worth a salt? Can they keep Spencer Rattler clean? That's going to be the big thing too. We don't know, because last season they didn't really play that well. Is your offensive coordinator capable of putting together a decent season? He put together a hell of a game plan for the Mayo Bowl matchup with North Carolina, but you're going to need more than one game. Remember, there's 12 games in a season. It seemed like he got that game perfect. If you go back and look at it, Gamecock offense was running all over the field, doing whatever the hell they wanted. They need those kind of creative play calls. Give the ball to Jaheim Bell. Give the ball to your playmakers and let them go. Can he keep that up consistently? All right. Then you've got, what else did I put? Can Jordan Burch live up to the hype? Because this guy was projected to be one of the top players in the country. And to be honest, has he played like a top player in the country? Not yet. Is there the potential there for him to do it? Remember, this is a guy that turned down LSU and Alabama to go to South Carolina. Just saying. That could be one of the big things there. Is Marshawn Lloyd healthy? The young man's had to deal with the injury to his knee. Is he healthy? They're depending on him to kind of balance that running back room? Is he healthy? These are all questions that we have, or I have, for South Carolina. Is the coaching staff smart enough to give Juju McDowell more touches? Now he is I don't want to call him what's the best term? He's kind of like a scat back. You get him in space and he's going to cause problems. I don't think he's going to be a guy that's going to run between the tackles because he may get killed. But if you can get him in space, he can cause problems. So can they design an offense where you can do like a back and forth rotation there? Give the ball to Jaheim Bell a little bit. Give the ball to Juju McDowell. Let Marshawn Lloyd get his feet wet and not be expected to come in there and carry the complete offensive load for South Carolina. Who's going to fill the void left by Enigbare, who was one of the best pass rushers in the SEC last season? He was a great player. Who's going to step into that role? No one really knows. No one really, really knows. And who's going to replace Jalen Foster, who made plays all over the damn field? I mean, these are just some of the questions that we have for South Carolina heading into the season. And I understand that talking season, everybody's like, hey, I've got this going on and that going on. And, this guy looks great. And he did well in the spring game. And you hear all of that stuff. And, look what DeCarrion Joyner did in the ball game. Yeah, all that's great. But in the end, it comes down to, can you lock in and do what you're supposed to during the actual regular season? Because those are the games that matter. I stand by what I said. The bowl games don't matter anymore. If you're not in the CFP, your bowl game is just something for us to watch on TV during the holidays. And I know that sounds silly and people get pissed off about that, but that's just the truth. Think about it. Do you care more about what happened in that bowl game or your matchup with a rival in November? There you go with that. Welcome back to the show over there, Biscuit. And I called it right. He had a football hiatus. That's fine. It's good to see you back, though, sir. All right, we'll take your calls on my questions there for South Carolina. And, we can do questions for every program. Maybe that's what I'll do throughout the week here. We'll do questions for Clemson. We'll do questions for Tennessee. We'll do questions for Georgia. Because, we can find questions for everyone. So, yeah, all of that, we can have that in the mix for you. I do want to talk a second here about the NCAA transfer portal and how the Division I Council is recommending that the NCAA get rid of the one-time part of its transfer rule. So anyone would be able to transfer and have immediate eligibility if they meet academic standards. You could transfer multiple times and play right away if that one-time transfer rule goes out the window. So, yeah, that could be a mess. The Uncle Lou wants to know, why am I wearing a Miami hat? This is not a Miami hat. This is a hat I got from the golf shop up there. It's an S. It's like a swan. It's not a Miami hat. Miami hats are like those ones they give the guys on the chain gang, right? Yeah. Not gonna wear a damn Miami hat. Anyway, think of it this way. What if you had a player like, I don't know. Let's go with DJ Uiagalelei. If DJ Uiagalelei gets benched in game 1 or game 2, he can leave and go somewhere else. It's across the board. Across the board. It is a mess when you really stop and think about it. You could theoretically have people play for 3 different schools and only be in school for 4 semesters. That's where you're at. But you know where the next thing is going to go? We've had the NCAA basically lost when it came down to the NIL and things like that. It's going to get to a point where someone is going to challenge the NFL on, hey, you can't come here until you've been out of high school for 3 years. Isn't that kind of discriminating against someone because of their age? think about it for just a second. There's going to be some spiffy lawyer that's going to come out and say, you know what? That doesn't work. My guy's been out of school for 2 years and he's the best, the best passer in the country. He's the best offensive lineman in the country. You're going to make him go back to school for another year just to make sure that he's a year older before he comes into the league. Someone is going to do that. I don't know who it's going to be, but someone is going to do that. And you're going to end up with some 18, 19-year-old guys. Once the first case goes and the NFL legally, they don't have a leg to stand on. It really is, hey, we only want you here if you're 21. You can't do that. It's not going to work. Bob says, answer to the hat question to cover up his comb over. I don't have a comb over. I have blonde hair. Comb over anything. What are you talking about? Ryan says they have age limits due to safety, though, right? Yes, and I get that, but there's going to be someone that I think is going to challenge it. Someone's going to challenge it. All right. So we'll take your calls at 803-470-2905, 803-470-2905. Papa B says it's okay for the Padres to sign and pay a 17-year-old, but not for basketball and football. I think the NBA's got their one and done rule. I think all of that's going to go away. I really do. I really, really do think that's going to happen, but we shall see. All right, taking your calls at 803-470-2905. If you want to talk about the questions that I had for South Carolina, and by the way, the transfer portal thing that we were talking about earlier, Georgia fans are not, Stetson Bennett will never have to buy another drink in Athens ever for winning that national title last season. But to be honest, I don't know how many Georgia fans are completely on board with him. I think there's a good set of them that are like, man, he's going to cost us a game somewhere. But you're going to need guys like Stetson Bennett that just want to play at Georgia or want to play at your school. A guy like Stetson Bennett may end up being a much better value because he actually wants to be there over a 5-star guy who could get his feelings hurt and go somewhere else. Just a mess when you really stop and think about it. 803-470-2905, 803-470-2905. Savage Dog says Bennett is the third best quarterback at UGA. Look, I'm not trying to fight that battle with you. All right? I mean, obviously we don't go to practice. The coaching staff thinks that Bennett's the best guy. What did Jackpot call him last night? He looks like Screech from Saved by the Bell. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Biscuit says he wouldn't go that far. Look, and I'm not trying to throw shade at the guy either. He won a national title. He deserves the respect that comes with that. But on the other hand, if we put him on the field with the other quarterbacks that are at Georgia, and you couldn't tell who was who, if it were just warm-ups, I don't think that he would be QB1. I really don't. Really don't. 803-978, 803-470-2905. Bob said I was mighty quick putting the hat back on. It's okay. I'm not worried about my hair. My daughter picks on me about my hair all the time, Bob. I'm not worried about it. I can do the whole show without a hat on. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. All right, 803-470-2905, 803-470-2905. By the way, we goofed on not really goofed on. We kind of held Tennessee's feet to the fire. I found out, I read something today about that the stuff that's going on with Kansas with their basketball program and Bill Self not taking any recruiting visits in July because he's trying to follow, I guess, the Tennessee model, but keep his job where, we levied this against ourselves, even though they had 6 level 1 violations, something like that. That it was just really, 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 really bad, the stuff that went on at Kansas. But to be honest, they don't care up there. They'll line up their lawyers and go to war with the NCAA anything Bill Self does, they he's the next best thing. That's just, or not the next best thing. He can't do anything wrong. This is going to be another time where the NCAA is going to look like a eunuch. They really are. What are they going to do to Kansas? Nothing. Will they get a playoff ban? Probably not. Probably not. Lots of comments over there about the stuff I said about Stetson Bennett. Bennett leveling the playing field. Good point, Jay. Brandon says Arch ain't going nowhere. Dude already made his decision. Okay. Papa B said, I thought Stetson had a pretty good looking deep ball pass, to be honest. Savage Dog says we won the national title because Bama only scored 18. Look, all of that's good. I mean, I get it. But the problem, I don't think you should levy what's the term? Levy your venom at Bennett. He's just going out there playing football. The coaching staff keeps putting him out on the field. Now, you may not like the way that and the mistakes that he makes, but don't you have to trust your coaching staff, your national championship winning coaching staff when it comes to this? I mean, you won a national title with that guy as your quarterback. If they're telling you, we think he's QB1, maybe they don't have the vibe with the guys that are, QB2 and 3 at this point. I don't know. I mean, we don't get to go to practice and see that stuff. What we do see is that the Georgia coaching staff keeps sending him out there. And if they're sending him out there, that's who they like. That's who they like. Good point there. Savage Dog says, I like Bennett. I just think Kirby doesn't know QBs. Well, Kirby Smart has a history of that. I mean, he's kind of made mistakes on that front. Ryan with a good point. Who's going to start over him? Same thing that Biscuit's asking. Who would you start over Stetson Bennett? I mean, you've got guys that are highly touted, right? Think about it. There's guys that are behind him that are more highly ranked, I guess is the term, over Bennett, but the coaching staff keeps sending him out there. Savage Dog says Carson Beck. Yeah. Here's the big thing with the Georgia quarterback situation, though. If I'm Carson Beck and I'm a guy that was as highly touted, wasn't he a 4 or 5-star player? You know what I'm saying? If I'm Carson Beck, with the way the NCAA is getting it set up, I'm not saying it's going to happen now, but I mean, he still has that option where he could transfer out. Think about that for a second. You got to give credit to the Georgia coaching staff for keeping these guys on the team. I mean, that's fair, right? They managed to keep these highly touted quarterbacks on the field or on the team, even though they're not seeing the field, over a guy that doesn't pass the eye test, but wins you football games. You got to give credit to the Georgia coaching staff for that, because there's a lot of coaches that can't make that happen, where guys are just leaving. See ya. Biscuit says Carson Beck was terrible and garbage last year. Papa B says Dak made me to remember to never underestimate how a quarterback can improve in an offseason. Yep. Jay says Beck lit it up on G-Day. Yeah, but is G-Day really... there are people that are going to say the best defense they'll face is the one in practice. That's true. That's absolutely true. But in the end, if you don't put up enough where the coaches are like, okay. And see, there's also going to be that segment of folks that are looking at it from this perspective. If you do start Carson Beck and he comes in and he does throw some passes that he shouldn't throw, throws a pick six here or there, and Georgia drops a game, then everyone's going to be like, man, bring back our game manager, Bennett. It's going to be that too. All right. 803-470-2905. If you'd like to talk about anything that we've been talking about here today on the program, 803-470-2905. You can support the show right there. Daddy O said with a very good point. No college coach is going to play the second or third best option. Too much money at stake. A great example on that is you can win the national title. That's what Ed Orgeron did in 2019? Won the national title at LSU, and now he's gone. He's not even coaching there anymore. You could be at the height of college football, up on top of the mountain, waving at everyone down below with your flag up there that you're the best team in the country. And in 2 seasons, it could be gone. So I don't think Kirby Smart's sitting here dicking around thinking, all right, I'm just going to run this guy out there because I don't know. I think that he thinks that Bennett gives them the absolute best chance to win. Unless Kirby Smart's an idiot, which we have been told on the program by some folks that he is. Harry Legg says Bennett will light up the opposition this fall, and all the Disney casuals will be verklempt. Daddy-O says Coach O had a bad zipper problem. Good point, sir. Jay says Coach O's office glowed from space with a black light. he couldn't string together 8 words either. So Jason says Beck showed out at the G-Day game, but with a late scoring drive, Bennett won the scrimmage. If UGA wins the Natty this season, there will be a movie made about him. There should be a movie made about him now. Think about it. I mean, he transfer in, or he came, left, came back, won a national title. I mean, that's some Disney shit. That should be on Disney Plus like next week with a lot of the other sap stuff they've got on there. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. All right, 803-470-2905. If you'd like to join the program today and sound off on what we're talking about, who should we look for questions on tomorrow? See if we can find some questions tomorrow. I gave you the stuff for South Carolina today. Tomorrow, what could it be? You want to do Tennessee? You want to do Georgia? Which way you guys want to go? Like the garbage Clemson movie. Yep. It's all soft stuff. You know that. Got to have that to make people feel warm and fuzzy. Need all that. All right. Final call for calls at 803-470-2905, 803-470-2905. Savage Dog says Bennett will be asked to throw us to a few victories this year and get exposed. What did Bennett average last season? Let's look last season at, I'll pull this up really quick here. So, yeah, that's a good point. Let's see here. Regular season passing stats for the SEC. Passing yards. Let's see if this is going to work. Okay, passing yards. Where did Bennett end up? So Bennett finished 5th in the conference as far as passing yards. He threw for more yards than Will Levis. He threw for more yards than Jefferson at Arkansas. More yards than Bo Nix at Auburn. Yeah, he threw for 2,862 yards and was a game-managing type quarterback. By the way, Tennessee fans, he only threw for less than 100 yards more. Less than 100 yards more than Hendon Hooker. Hooker was at 29.45. Bennett finished at 28.62. So the idea that Stetson Bennett is just a sucker, I mean, there were other quarterbacks that are more highly thought of. Jefferson, Levis. They're talking about Levis being a first-round pick, even though he puts mayonnaise in his coffee. Ugh, what a mess. Jason says with the super chat, we want a movie on Bennett. That could be funny. Why not? And Savage Dog says, and he lost his top 2 wide receivers this year. That could be true. Harry Legg says, we got morons dishing the nation's 3rd highest ranked quarterback. Yeah, there's that too. Look, I'm just saying the guys that were ahead of him, Bryce Young won the Heisman Trophy. Will Rogers in a fluke offense at Mississippi State. Matt Corral at Ole Miss. 3rd round pick in the draft. Hendon Hooker also in a gimmick offense at Tennessee. Bennett was in a pro-style offense at Georgia and finished ahead of Will Levis, ahead of Emory Jones, ahead of Jefferson at Arkansas, ahead of Bazelak at Mizzou, ahead of Bo Nix, and of course, ahead of the quarterback whisperer down there with Texas A&M was Zach Calzada. So the idea that Bennett sucks is like, I mean, you won. Come on now. All right, 803-470-2905. Final call for calls. Who do you guys want questions on tomorrow? We'll see what I come up with for tomorrow. Leave that in the comments section. Tennessee, Georgia, Kentucky. We could do Clemson because I got questions for everyone. No team is perfect, by the way. No team is perfect. Someone did send me a message on Twitter and said, if you could bet $100 on one team winning the college football playoff in the preseason, who would you go with? The easy answer is Ohio State because they've got talent all over the place and they play in the Big Ten, which is a shit show. So there's that. And Alabama and Georgia would also be a good pick, but they're going to end up playing each other. So just a thought. That's kind of who I would go with. But we'll do questions later on as the week rolls on. All right. Anyway, if you guys want to support the show, there's the link for the PayPal, the Cash App, and the Venmo. You guys are awesome for checking out the show. Hit the like button. That kind of helps out the channel a little bit. Share a little bit of it. Let people know that you spent some time with us. Jackpot's video last night where he actually cried tears is still up. Hilarious. Go and check that out too. All right. I'm on Twitter at Rob Sounds Good. I appreciate y'all. We'll see you later on.